Most of the Remnant 2 videos on YouTube deal with farming and endgame, but what the stats show is that most people don't even complete the campaign, much less try something like Apocalypse difficulty. So today, we're switching into a lower gear and focusing on the most fun hidden guns in Remnant 2. Not necessarily the ones that will clear the maximum amount of bosses per hour, but rather the ones that will generate the most smiles. This is for those who want to play on a lower difficulty and just enjoy the experience. Though with that said, you'll actually find that some of these guns are darned good endgame performers too. I was legitimately surprised while I shot this footage. Our first gun will feel like a trip back through time for those who are old and wizened like myself and remember the days of Unreal Tournament. The Twisted ARBALEST is a very novel gun that shoots a disc which bounces between surfaces and enemies, getting up to several hits per shot. It can be a hilarious way to clear mobs in tight spaces. Just be careful when you run into elites and bosses, because it sucks quite heavily at dealing single target damage. One benefit to this gun is that it can actually hit enemies that are outside of your line of sight. You can literally bounce the disc off adjacent walls and hit them even if they're around corners. The mod is quite strange. Once the meter fills up, you'll launch special glowing discs which then leave enemies lit up. Press the mod button and spectral swords will hit all lit enemies at once. Good fun for mobs. The Twisted ARBALEST is crafted by McCabe after you defeat the Corruptor boss in the Red Throne Shard of Yesha. If you like that, you will love our second gun. It's the sci-fi Wet Dream and a really good performer throughout the game as well. The Plasma Cutter launches a neon purple beam which melts through enemies' weak spots, letting you absolutely dominate the mid-range while living out your retrowave fantasies. There is something unbelievably satisfying about just melting through an enemy's entire body. It's also amazing at removing armor plating and triggering weak spots, absolutely annihilating certain types of elites and bosses. The mod essentially supercharges it, giving you a greater amount of shots before the gun overheats, while also ramping up its fire rate and overall DPS. The Plasma Cutter is an all-round winner. You get this one in the crash ship in the second overworld area in Neyrud. Make sure to equip the Navigator's helmet before the door scans you, and within, you will find the 80s sci-fi plasma gun of your dreams. If you thought the Plasma Cutter was niche sci-fi, well, it has nothing on our third weapon. The Cube Gun has arguably the most unique mechanic of any sidearm in Remnant 2. It shoots from its own reserve of 5 bullets, which have to make their way back to you before you can shoot again. This mechanic makes it amazing in closed environments, but for fairly obvious reasons, makes it nearly useless in the outdoors. What I really love about this gun though, is that the mod will allow you to tank 1,500 points worth of damage, which makes it super useful for face tanking certain boss encounters. Moreover, you can then shoot your giant shield cube at enemies, eviscerating them with a damage multiplier based on how much damage it's tanked for you. Super cool. Predictably, you get this gun by facing the giant cube boss in the labyrinth and then getting McCabe to construct it for you back in Ward 13. Think that was all the sci-fi guns Remnant had for you? You haven't seen anything yet. Fourth up is the Rupture cannon, and count this as another one that snuck under my radar. The game labels it a mid-range shotgun, and in a way it kind of is. A very sci-fi 80s retrowave way. It packs a massive punch with high accuracy, allowing us to utterly melt through enemies. Because it's a standard weapon, you can also hot rod it with a mod of your choice, such as Overflow in order to increase the fire rate and reload speed, which really helps this one. It also makes it look even more sci-fi, which is awesome. The Rupture cannon is found during the Vault of the Formless event by standing in one of the rotating rooms and running into a hidden area as it's rotating. This gives you access to the door key, which allows you to grab the Rupture cannon from a failed stasis pod at the end of the event. Rupture cannon looks powerful, you won't believe this next one. Ford's Scattergun, one of the most powerful weapons in the game. While this shotgun is about as vanilla as they come, if you pair it with spread reducing skills, items, traits, or concoctions, you can actually turn it into a mid to long range railgun. Breaking from our motif a little, this has actually been my favorite gun to run through Apocalypse with, because it scales so darned well and does amazingly against bosses. There's something unbelievably satisfying about one-shotting elites to the face from mid-range. You can blast and ragdoll enemies around with this thing, giving you a one-click solution to most of your in-game problems. Highly recommended, both for fun and for clearing through the game. You get Ford's Scattergun at the Red Throne by going into the side building and equipping the Seal of the Empress while standing over the symbol on the floor. This will trigger the floor to open up, revealing a hidden area with Ford's Scattergun. These 5 guns barely scrape the surface when it comes to all the fun weapons in Remnant 2. Let me know if you want to see a part 2 of this video where we can explore some more of my favorites together, and make sure to subscribe to not miss it. Until next time.